So technically I've already failed 75 Booked. If you don't know what 75 Booked is, it is a reading challenge created by Emily Page Books, where really the one main big goal is to read for 45 minutes twice a day. So 2 different reading sprints. There are a couple of other things that kind of are encompassed in the challenge. I did a whole video explaining what rules I'm following, but for those of you who are already in the know, I have in fact barely ever done 2 reading sprints, let alone 45 minutes of reading. Why is 45 minutes so many minutes? I truly underestimated how long 45 minutes is. Integrating the 1.5 hours into my day-to-day life, I don't think in itself would be much too difficult. Structuring my everyday life is just so difficult for me because I'm in university and my uni hours are all over the place, so I don't really have a structure. And so I can't say, oh, I'm gonna do all the reading in the morning because some mornings I have classes, and I also can't say, oh, I'm gonna do all of the reading in the evening because some of the evening I have classes. So it's just very difficult for me to structure around my uni schedule, and that is so far what I found to be the most disruptive force with this goal. The other one being my relationships. I simply cannot predict when me and my roommate feel like yapping for 3 hours at night when I initially planned to read. And I'm also in a long distance relationship, so when I see my partner, I try to be as present and conscious as possible with them. So I just don't read as much. I don't have 1.5 hours to read then. And with that, I'm so fine. That is so okay with me. I love books. I love my people more. This was always going to be a little bit of a disruptive force. I kind of predicted it. It's fine. And yet, I would say 75 Booked so far has been very successful for me. Because even though I am not reading 1.5 hours every single day, I am reading every single day. And that is already, for me, such an improvement. I usually, in my non-challenged reading life, go days, sometimes weeks, without picking up a book, which obviously in and of itself is fine. But for me personally, I find that once I lose the momentum, I find it hard to get back into it, especially if I'm still in the middle of a book, which I usually always am in the middle of a book. And so I have a hard time getting back into something once I've been out of it for a very long time. So yeah, already reading every single day is such an improvement for my reading habits, and it is changing how I view reading and how much I enjoy reading. I think so often when we set goals for ourselves, we automatically assume that we are only successful once we achieve those goals. But in reality, even doing the bare minimum, and there have been some days where I've only read 5 pages, that moves the needle toward A, finishing a book, and B, it keeps the momentum going. And so even though I have not fulfilled the goal of reading for 1.5 hours, I still have fulfilled the goal of reading more regularly, integrating reading more into my day-to-day life, making time for books, even when life feels stressful, or even just when social media and other obligations feel easier on my brain. Sometimes I find myself so stuck in these moments with picking a book, and that is usually where I lose momentum, or when I'm just kind of bored and overly challenged in a book. That also happens. But by reminding myself, forcing myself, quote unquote, to pick something up every single day, I keep my momentum going, and I notice that the decision fatigue is much more contained because I am forced to, I can't drag out the decision for as long as I want. I do have to make it, and I have to make it usually within the day. So I do think that in and of itself is already helping me and bringing me forward as a reader, and kind of fixing an issue I've had with reading for a while. Because for me, reading is mostly habitual. I read just to read, and the content is almost secondary to me. So I don't really know why I care so much about what I pick up. Because at the end of the day, I love good books, right? Such a controversial take. I love a good book. But I love the practice of reading more. I love being within any story more. And so what I like, the content of what I read. Like, I don't care for a specific genre or anything like that. It is very secondary to me. So I don't, and yet I still find myself so obsessively considering it. So yeah, this has definitely, the challenge has definitely helped with that. I also have kept up with writing in my reading journal daily about my progress, and I'm doing the bare minimum with this. Some days I literally just write what I've read and how much I've read of it, and usually I will add like 1 or 2 sentences about like whether I'm liking what I'm reading, or maybe if I liked or disliked something. I also have decided I am including uni reading in the challenge, just because like I have so much uni reading. Either way, writing in my reading journal really like feels like a manifestation of my commitment, and regardless of how much I actually do end up writing, I don't know, it feels like progress, writing down what I've read every single day. I'm surprisingly enjoying this, because years ago at this point I stopped tracking currently readings on like Goodreads, Storygraph, whatever, because I found that like I'm somebody, I read like a bajillion books at the same time, and I don't finish all of them. I usually have like, if we're being honest, if we're like just counting what I'm in the middle of, I'm probably in the middle of like 15 books. I'm not actively reading all of them. Some of these I will never get back to, but like they're not officially DNF'd. Like I haven't put them down because I dislike them. Anyway, I stopped tracking my currently reading just because I found it stressful and overwhelming and honestly unnecessary. I have not tracked currently reading because the way that these online apps do it, I just find very stressful and honestly unnecessary. I don't really gain anything from it. But doing this has kind of like tracking it on a day-to-day basis and not really about like when I start and finish an individual book has kind of shifted my perspective on keeping track of that. And I do think like just crossing out the date on my little 75 book calendar, it gives me a little dopamine hit, okay? So I have been doing this and I have been really enjoying it. And I think this might, I don't want to commit to doing this forever, but I do think if I did commit to do it for an extended period of time, I probably would enjoy doing it. I think to understand me in the context of this challenge, there's one thing you need to know about me, and that is I hate productivity. I am not a productive bitch, okay? I hate working towards arbitrary goals just to work towards something. I don't have an inner voice that's telling me I'm about to fail or that failure is bad or whatever. I actually kind of believe that failure is a good thing. I think failure teaches us a lot about ourselves. I'm a big advocate for changing your mind, stopping whatever you want to stop, using your free will to change your mind. I think if we were all a little bit more chill about changing our mind, society would be a lot more fun. I think we would all have a better time for it. That being said, this means that, especially for goals that are like just within myself, like nobody is asking me to read for 75 straight, I do tend to quit. I'm a quitter, okay? It's not my best personality trait. I definitely have other strengths, but I am a quitter. And I honestly kind of expected to quit 75 booked. Like there was, in my mind, there was no way I was even going to read for 75 days straight. And I mean, I haven't. There have been days where I haven't read anything. I think so far, there's been 3 days. One was this week because I was so sick and like so fatigued and brain fogged. I was literally just staring at the ceiling. And then 2 days, I was just busy. I have been making an effort every single day to read. And that is something that I'm not used to from myself. And it's really nice. It kind of makes me understand why people do set personal goals and then actually achieve them. All that is to say, I can't tell you the last time I've stuck to a decision for 75 days total, let alone 75 straight. So the fact that I've been even doing it for until the halfway point so far is incredible to me. And I'm having a grand old time. And the truth of the matter is I am showing up for myself, and I'm showing up for myself in the way that I really haven't in a long time and really haven't been able to in a long time. And I'm really proud of myself for that. But that may sound cheesy. Like, wow, you read 5 pages in a day. Yeah, I did. And I didn't want to, and I did it anyway. Because I said I was gonna do this. I think it's such a like marker of character strength if you can like set out to do something and then follow through with it. and like make a conscious effort over a long period of time to follow through with it. It's just not really something that I've been successful with in the past, but this is kind of fun. Also, shocking turn of events, I actually just like reading. I don't know why I expected this to be hard, because like reading is literally my favorite hobby. And like I've been trying out a bunch of different hobbies recently, and reading still takes the cake. It's still the best one in my very humble opinion. So I am just so glad that I'm kind of rediscovering this love for reading and books, while also showing up for myself continuously. And I think that even if I just read one page every single day for the rest of this challenge, I like the learning I will have from that, and the like self-confidence of setting out to do something and then actually doing it. Pretty awesome. I would definitely do this challenge again. Okay, now we've done all of our reflecting. Let's look a little bit ahead. Where do I think we're going? So I do think we're going to pick up pace again. That being said, my mind has definitely shifted from like doing a set period of time to just reading every single day. The reason for that is just, first of all, 45 minutes is a long time. I didn't realize how long of a time 45 minutes was. But second of all, sometimes that feels intimidating, especially like I don't really have any set like times in my day to day where anything happens. And I can't predict even 45 minutes ahead, and like having to commit to doing something for 45 minutes, it's tough for me. I don't know what that says about me psychologically, but committing to something for 45 minutes straight is tough. I've been thinking of maybe starting like very, very low stakes with like 10-minute sprints, but that is not a priority. The priority is keep going with reading every single day, and to keep going with the reading journal. Everything else is kind of on the back burner. That being said, I looked at my video again, and I made a rule that I wanted to read half of the books during this challenge as physical books. I completely forgot about that rule. I'm gonna be very honest, I did not remember saying that. However, so far it's worked out that way. I have finished 3 audiobooks and I've finished 3 physical books so far during this challenge. So we're doing fine. The book I'm currently reading, also a paperback. We're doing fine with that. I also made a goal to upload a video every single week. So far, I have, that is kind of insane to me. The last time I did weekly videos was in 2022 when I started this channel. So the fact that I've done it for 4 weeks in a row, kind of insane to me. Honestly, I was not sure this video was gonna make it, but damn it, it will, okay? And that is a goal I think I'm going to stick with this. Even though on a day-to-day basis, committing myself to reading every day, I'm not always able to do that, but on a week-to-week basis, I do have enough time to finish a full video. With that, it's more of like reprioritizing. So I can do that, and I feel quite confident that I will do that. That being said, if you wanna support me, if you wanna tell me that you would like for me to do that, maybe subscribe, maybe leave a comment, Okay. I think that's everything I meant to talk about today. Have you guys thought about doing 75 booked? Have you done it in the past? Honestly, I would highly recommend. I'm not really following any of the rules anymore. I would still recommend you try it out. Let me know what you guys think on the challenge, and I will see you all next week.